Welcome to episode 2 of our V8 S10 8.8 rear end swap. So we're going to be swapping a Ford 8.8 into the Chevy S10, and if you didn't see episode 1, make sure you check out episode 1 because this thing has crazy wheel hop, and it was so bad that it actually set off the airbags. So check out that video if you haven't yet. In this episode, I'm going to be getting the differential ready to go into the vehicle. I'm going to get the Ford differential ready. I also have to get the leaf springs ready. So part of the Caltracs system is that we have to replace the front leaf spring bushing with a special aluminum bushing. It makes it very solid at the front of the leaf spring to get rid of some of that deflection. In the rear, you keep the stock bushings, but this vehicle has some miles on it, so we're going to go ahead and replace the stock bushings also on the rear. And if any of you have ever done any leaf spring bushing replacement in the past, you will know that this is a royal pain in the butt, and you're going to see that. It took me about 2.5 hours of actual work, but you guys are going to get the abridged version of that. We also got the axles drilled, and we're also going to have to install some Chevy studs into the new holes that we drilled into the axles. Without further ado, let's get dirty. My name is Pete, and welcome to my garage. Yeah, so this S10's 7.5 rear end, it's not that heavy. One person easily pick it up. This 8.8 is not that light. Okay, so the Ford 8.8 rear end is a stout unit. There are a little bit of differences between the GM rear end. In our case, we have a 7.5, and this is an 8.8, so it's a lot bigger. It's not quite as big as 9-inch, but it also doesn't rob as much power. Now this differential actually came out of a Ford Explorer, and the wheel width, or the wheelbase on the Ford Explorer is very similar to the S10. So, the difference in the wheel width, I believe this is about 1/2 inch wider, which is going to be okay for our application. The leaf spring perches are almost in the exact same spot. So it's almost a bolt-in deal. In the truck we have 373 gears, which actually works pretty well with our tire size. So we were going to stick with 373 gears in the Ford differential. One way to identify that is the tag right here. Now this one was painted, and this one actually says 3L73 on it, which means that is a 373 gear ratio, and the L indicates that it's a locking differential. It's a track lock differential. Now it's already been repainted, and these differentials you can get them with either drum brakes or disc brakes. Our S10 has drum brakes on it, so we figured it would be about the easiest to go right back with drum brakes. If you pull one of these out of the junkyard, you can get them actually pretty cheap. I believe this one was just a couple $100. One thing you're going to notice is on the Ford there's a flange right here versus a U-joint flange like the GM has. So what you need to make sure is that you get the flange that bolts to that, so we can get a conversion U-joint that has the Ford, I believe this is a 1330 U-joint to possibly a 1310. I'm not sure exactly. I need to look that up and figure that out. But make sure you get this piece, or you're not going to have any way to hook your drive shaft up to that flange. One of the nice things is with this swap is that you don't have to send your drive shaft out to actually have it machined or anything or cut down. So we can just run our stock drive shaft with conversion U-joint. So that makes things a lot easier. Okay, the Ford bolt pattern is 5 by 4 1/4. You can see that right there. 5 by 4 1/4, whereas the GM bolt pattern on these wheels is 5 bolts on a 4 1/2 inch. So from center to center on the bolts is 4 1/2 inches on the GM, whereas only 4 1/4 on the Ford. So we're going to have to either run Ford wheels on the back and GM wheels on the front, which, I mean, that doesn't really make that much sense since this is going to be a street truck. Or what I can do is just drill out the drums precisely and the axles and put GM studs in there, and I'm definitely going to do that. Alright, so we're going to press in some new studs into our axles here. Seat them just a little bit, and then I'll use a socket over each one, individual one. Press it down better. Got the bushing. I'm going to push out the inside of it with the rubber. I'll push it all out that way and then knock the outside of it. We'll see. All right, we've almost pushed it all the way through. All right, there's the inner part of the bushing. You can see it's just rusted up really bad. All right, now all I'm left with is this outer shell. I just take the air hammer and knock it out. Let's go. Let's see, I already did one on the other side, or on the other spring. And this is all you get left, and you just knock it all out the bottom because there is a shoulder on one side. Whew. Voila. Now we have to do the same thing to the other side so we can put a solid aluminum bushing in this side, which is the front for the Caltracs. All right, got some new bolts here, and so they don't seize to the inside of my new bushings, I'm going to go ahead and coat them with anti-seize. Just a nice little coat on there, hopefully keep them from seizing up in there so we can have good range of motion. Nothing's worse than when the bolt seizes to the inside of the bushing, like on these things when I was trying to take them apart. So, trying to press that one out, that was a royal pain. I would have never got that out if I didn't take it to a press. And we're going to get the leaf spring up into the hanger here, or the shackle. Get everything lined up. There we go. Slide it through. I'm going to leave these loose for now until I get this thing at the right ride height. Just got to go do the same thing on the other side. Alright, let's get that up in there. Just like the other side, we're going to bolt it up loose until we get everything in position, and then the rear end pushed up to the ride height, and then it should be pretty good. Alright, now I got both leaf springs hanging there. I need to get my differential ready over there and get it put in place on top of the leaf spring so I can lift it all up. Alright, as part of this job, I'm going to replace the axle seals, but I also have to replace these park brake cables that are in here. They were just cut off from the junkyard. And then also this rusted hardware. I'm going to go ahead and replace all the hardware for the brakes, put new brake shoes on it, new axle seals. So I'm going to have to take the brakes apart, but I'm going to wait till I get that in the vehicle. So right now I'm just going to do axle seals and put new axle seals in it, slap the axles back in it, get it cleaned up, and get the cover on it so I can then install the differential. That's really in there. Nothing is going easy on this project. Let's see if we can cave it in a little bit. Better idea. We'll use a slide hammer on it. Whew! That was in there. All right, when installing an axle seal, it's always a good idea to pack this garter spring on the back side with, I use Transgel, or you can use axle grease or something like that. And what it does when you're hammering the seal in, so it doesn't make the spring fall off, because then it's not going to press up against the shaft of the axle and seal very well. So let's get it started. Alright, we're flush now. Make sure it's clean. We can slide our axle in. Like to get a little bit of grease on there so it's not dry. We'll slide our axle home. On the Explorer 8.8, this side over here is the longer axle. Make sure we don't hit our splines. You can see in here when I push the axle all the way in, it sticks out. Alright, we take our C-clips, we fit it in there, and we can pull our axle back out and it seats it. Perfect. Now I just got to do the other side, same thing.
This is much easier than trying to fill it through that tiny little fill hole.
As you can see, we now have our differential ready to go and ready to go into the car. In the next episode of Pete's Garage, you're going to see me put the differential back in the vehicle, and it is going to be bolted in and ready to go. However, there are some other things that we need to do for that. So thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe so you can follow along on this this journey of installing a Ford 8.8 into a Chevy S10. Thank you.